Welcome to Checking In with Dr. B, a space designed for live conversations with those who have found and lived their joy. Today I'm speaking with Carlon Lyons, musician, educator, DJ, and founder of the Carlon Lyons Music Group, where he educates, teaches, of course, and produces music. Welcome, Carlon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Uh, well, Carlon, first of all, tell me a little bit about your journey.
My journey started at age 9, I would say. My first love for the instrument grew um, as we progressed. I started playing pan at Southern Marines in Marbella. That's a band right off the Southern Main Road in Marbella, under the direction of Michael Scobie at the time. And there, that was the first place I learned to start, scales and learn the different pans and the different sounds. And I was running around the panyard like a wild man because I was so infatuated with all the drums and everything. And then from moving on there, it started to evolve. And secondary school, and from there I participated in the music festival with Miss Lorna Corniette, and so we started to have a bond. And actually came first at Napima Bowl that year, playing Chopin's Nocturne E flat. And from there on, I joined a new family, Skiffle Bunch, uh, under the direction of the Junior Grillo, and had a new steel band family there. And then I started to learn, more advanced music and more advanced techniques. And that's how it really started. And then the rest. Should I go into the rest, or should I just?
Well, you obviously had a love for music.
Yes.
What was it about music that drew you in?
Not having access to other things that other my friends would have. So um, I didn't have access to video games and stuff that would drive me or keep me into something else, probably into social media. We didn't have that at the time. So seeing steel pan being performed and actually hearing it as well really just struck me. And I was like, my mother asked me, because back in the day it was All Stars was playing Corita Bank on the TV and television. And when I saw them come up, I know the song, so every time they start playing, I start dancing in the house automatically. And my mother asked me, she's like, "You want to do that?" I was like, "Could I do that?" She's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Please and thank you." And so that's how it started.
That's how it started. I noticed that you spoke about at Southern Marines, at Skiffle Bunch, about your musical family. Tell me a little bit about that, how these entities became your family.
Right. So back in the day, I would say 1997, 97, no, not even so, 95, 95, 96. I would play pan, little events, little functions, little national anthem. And it wasn't about money. They always tried to share what they had. And if I wanted to learn something, this individual will say, "Okay, come and learn this." And then somebody else will come and say, "Oh, you like that? Come and learn this." And so everyone was just pouring into me, like in a family setting, they're kind of pouring their knowledge into you. And so I have all these different entities showing me different things, and as me now to decipher, some of the stuff were way more advanced than my age, and so it was fun. It was fun. They
Ah,
took care of me. They made sure I didn't go along the wrong path. No violence, no lying on the block, no smoking, nothing. And yeah, they really looked out for me in that aspect. Yeah,
what? That is fantastic. And
yeah.
then you being awarded a scholarship, you left Trinidad to come to the US. I talk a
Right.
little bit about what some of the things that you encountered in that journey.
Okay. So I'll tell you just briefly before how I won the scholarship, and then we'll go forward. So upon sitting my Caribbean examination exams, CXC as we call it, unfortunately I did not get the English subject, and so had to go back to repeat and to get the English. And while I was repeating at the school, Union Claxton Bay, shout out to Union Claxton Bay, I met a fine gentleman named Mr. Oval Woodsley, and he asked me, he's like, "What could you do?" I'm like, "I could play football." He's like, "Well, we don't have any footballers." I'm like, "What do you mean we don't have?" He said, "Well, I represent the Florida Memorial University School, and we're looking for students who are interested in, you know, studying abroad." I was like, "Okay." So what else could you do, Mr. Lyons? I was like, "I could play pan." He's like, "Oh, really?" You know how he has his glasses anyhow. So he said, "Yeah." He said, "How well could you play pan?" I said, "I've been playing pan since I was age 9." He said, "Okay, I would like to hear you. Could you meet us at a specific day, at a specific time?" It was a Sunday. It was a Saturday. I was like, "Yeah, sure." So he gave me the address, and I went home casually as ever to my mother. I said, "Mom, there's this guy from school. He wanted to meet me. He wanted to hear me play pan for some school, something. Me casual." So my mother was like, "Okay, yeah, no problem." So back in the day, we had no pan, so I had to go borrow a pan. And borrowing the pan, now we went. And as we reached on Root Avenue, an Open Bible Church in San Fernando, everyone was well dressed. Like I remember that everyone was well dressed, and I'm like, "This is the place." My mother looking at me, I'm like, "Yeah, this is the place." So Mr. Wosley called me, brought me upstairs, and that's when I met Dr. Batson for the first time. Um, and her band, shout out to those guys, Asta, Freddie, Gerard, Eltra, and all these guys. And I sat there, just manifesting and desiring to be as good as these guys. And then it was my time to do an interview. And I never forget, and I tell people the story all the time, when I was asked to play the F major scale, I played it in such a way that it was not impressive at all. And I was asked by Dr. Bassett, I was asked by you too, "Can you play it like you know it?" I was like, "I can't do that." And so I played it like I knew it. And then you asked me, am I working at any pieces? Am I writing any music? Am I studying anything? I was like, "I know a little bit of theory." And you said, "Play me something." And I was like, "Okay." And I just started to play, except from a piece of classical music. I don't even know the name of the song anymore. But after playing for you, you looked at me and you was like, "You will do well furthering your studies abroad, and I'll be happy to have you, and congratulations." I was like, "Thank you." But it didn't dawn on me that I was accepted. This is the first time I've been accepted in something this huge, um, playing the instrument. I was age 16 going on 17 at the time. So it was huge for me. And then you asked me, I'm like, "When am I starting?" You said fall. And I'm like, "When is fall?" And you laughed. I remember you laughed, you smiled. This is boy. And so, yeah, so that's how that started. And then I gave my mom the thumbs up, and then she started to cry. And that's when it really hit me that I was actually going to leave for the first time out of the country to study abroad. So it was definitely a journey.
It sounds like your mom has been really, really, really important in terms of support and everything that you've done.
Yeah, she has. She has. My mom made sure that I um, had the tools to continue learning the instrument. Um, she did her best. She made sure that I was at the paniad with my little copybook, with my little pencil, well dressed, clean. And she would leave me in the panier and she would go to the market and make groceries and come back and would see me still there. Either I'm happy or I'm crying or I'm sad. Why am I crying? I'm saying I can't get the part. The music is too sweet. I'm like, I can't get it. It's too advanced in my small little hands. And she would see the frustration in me and I'm like, man, I can't do this. She's like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. So and then I persist, and the rest is history. The air started getting better, the hands started getting better. I was able to handle myself and learn on my own as we go along. So it was good. She really helped me.
So it sounds like family community, that community at home with your mother, the
Yeah.
community of the steel bands, were
Yeah.
your support. Now,
Yes.
in the US, what you were on your own. What happened there?
All right. So upon reaching to Miami, Florida, um, well, I got to the airport and I was told I had to take a blue shuttle to the campus. And I'm looking around, I'm seeing hundreds of blue shuttles, and I'm like, which one I'm gonna take? And then someone tapped me on the shoulder, this guy, and he's like, where you going? Tall man, where you going? I was like, I'm going to Florida Memorial University. No, it was at the time at Florida Memorial College. He's like, yeah, I go in there too. I was like, he said, yeah, let me go together. And we got in the shuttle, got to the campus by myself, and everything was just huge. The grass was green, the place was clean, and I was like soaking it in, but still trying to maintain my composure, still trying to act natural. But it was definitely something that it it wooed me. Um, I was seduced by the whole campus. It's like, wow, I'm going to be spending my life here. And so, yeah, enter into the dormitories. This thing normally goes into the dormitory, give you a room. Sometimes the room is not prepared, so you have to wait. And so I had to wait until my room was prepared. Then go to orientation, head to the basketball court, that area there, and where they will talk to the new ones coming in before the returning students come in. So having to see the new freshmen and getting a feel for the culture as well, how to move, what to say, you know, how to look, you know. Um, Mind you, on my first day, I was all dressed down. I had clocks and pants with seam, and I was like ready to go on a date. And yeah, everyone was just flip flops and socks, and I was like, what? This is a different culture,
You
different
just
culture.
impressed. You just
Yeah, I
impressed.
just impressed. Yeah, I just impressed, and but yeah, lo and behold, everything went smoothly, and I must say, my time at Florida Memorial University was very, very smooth, very, very good.
Hmm. So now that when you received your education there, you in between that time you went down to Key West and you performed
Yes,
in Key
yes.
West. How did that come about?
All right, so one beautiful day, I'm guessing it wasn't raining at the time. Um, you actually approached me like, Carlon, would you be interested in um, teaching in Key West? I was like, where is Key West? And he was like, yes, just of the course. And you give me the whole description, just of the course. And I was like, yeah, sure. She's like, okay, great. I was like, so yeah, so I was like, okay. She said, I'll put you on to the right persons. I'll handle it from there. I'll get back with you. And you you put it in such a way I didn't have that much to do. I was just had to show up, be on time, and driving to Key West. Key West is almost 3 hours, 4 hours drive. Um, Going down to Key West, it was like going back to the Caribbean. Everything was laid back. Everything was just humid. It was hot. Persons in flip flops, and yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. And getting there, I met a wonderful lady named is Nora Revlin. And Nora, you put me onto Nora. Nora became my second mom. She's Irish lady, married to a French husband, Andre. Shout out to Andre and Nora and JP and the dog Eddie. Um, and so Nora took me in. She's like, by the way, Nora is the director of Steal Your Hearts Steel Band in Key West. And Nora is a very good pianist. And she needed someone to help translate the instrument to the students and to help, foster their talents. So I just came in as a support so they can see that the ceiling could be raised a little bit if they apply themselves. And so I would demonstrate a lot of the technical stuff. And Nora and I just locked in. And she took me under her wing. She got jobs to me. She fed me. She bought clothes. I remember she bought me shirts from garage sales. And Nora was everything for me. And so I must say thank you again, Nora Evelyn, for seeing, me um, through Key West. While working in Key West during the Soul Fest program, it's a program we have every summer for students who, you know, want to learn any of the arts, maybe ballet, opera singing, and luckily they offered steel pan. So steel pan. So that's where Nora and I came in, and I was able to meet a lot of the opera singers from Boston, and it was a very well put program together under the direction of Sabrina Alfonso. She really was the overseer of that project, and her and I we were able to lock in, and she liked what I was doing with the students. So Key West been was fun, and in the nighttime I would get to gig and meet some of the most electrifying persons. One name come to mind is George Victory. George Victory is a man of many words. He himself is a famous guitarist, composer, singer, entertainer from Trinidad who migrated to the States and plays, in bars and clubs and stuff. And when we met, I told him who I am and I told him where I was studying. And he's like, oh, yeah, Dawn, that's my girl. I was like, who? Dawn? He's like, yeah, tell her you met George. And I remember coming back to school and I told you, he's like, you met George? I was like, yeah. So everyone just locked in that part, and George made sure that I had gigs and we performed together, weddings and stuff like that. So Key West was it, it definitely changed my direction as well too. I saw different sides of the action, so it was pretty good.
What got you into DJing?
DJing, there was a need for a DJ at a casino in Hollywood, Miami, called Casino Mardi Gras. And at the time, I was playing pan at an establishment called Ocean Alley on Boardwalk in Hollywood. And this guy saw me. His name is William Penhouse. And he's like, could you DJ? I was like, no, I can't. He said, I'm looking for a DJ. I said, well, I can learn. He's like, cool. See, I like your style and I like what you play and everything. I was like, thanks, man. Appreciate it. And then one night I got a call. William said, okay, Carlon, I'm going to send you. He said, I'm going to buy or send the money to the music store closest to you. At the time, the music store by me was Guitar Center. And you would go and pick out. I was like, what? Pick out what? He's like, the DJ equipment that you have to DJ on. I was like, well, I can't DJ. Say you're going to learn it. They told me you're going to learn. I was like, I will learn. And he says, yeah, just go and pick it up. What do you need? And I was like, well, I need a controller. I need some XLR cables. I need a microphone. I need some headsets and some skills. He's like, you'll get the skills. Just go and pick up the stuff. So I went and picked up the stuff, and I came home with all this equipment. And I'm like, I'm a DJ now. I opened up YouTube, learned how to plug in the USBs, and just started to use the controllers, and then my day to perform, I went there, downloaded all the calypsos and all the reggaes I can find. When I got there, my clientele or the persons who were to listen to me were a mixture of Jewish seniors, senior um, Black Americans. It was a more senior crowd. It wasn't a party fetting crowd like I was assuming. So I was booed. They looked at me as like, you do not know what we want. You do not have the tools that we want to hear. You don't have the songs that we love. And I remember to myself, I'm like, how did you not think to ask who you're playing for? And so I told William. William said, "Oh, I forgot to mention, man. You have an older crew there. They want to hear Barry White and Teddy Pendergrass and Dean Martin." And I'm like, okay, who are these people? I know Barry White is and those guys, but I had to go do my research. And then there was a Latin community there as well. So I had to get the salsa, the bachata, the merengue, and just the whole thing. And I just started working in the jog wheels at the place and learning how to mix. Already had a good sense of time. I was just able to synchronize the music and the keys of the songs well. So that was one of my greatest discoveries, that I loved DJing. DJ is very powerful when you can manipulate sound. From a musician's aspect, you can manipulate sound and keys with speed. You tend to have people on the dance floor dancing to your beat. So it was definitely a good thing for me. So I had a good time learning to DJ. Didn't go to school, didn't take any courses, none of this sort. And I DJed for 6 years, almost 7 years
Man, so
at
your
the casino.
musical background, combined with your technical skills, made you an excellent DJ,
Yeah.
understanding the music.
hmm Yes, it did. It was very from a musician's point of view. DJing is, I believe, different from a person who's just DJing via just knowing the beats and the songs and the content. I would know the rhythms, I would know the keys, I would know where the break points are, I would know whose voice would sound better over. So I'm arranging in real time. I'm arranging and composing in real time what I want to hear. Maybe uh, an EDM beat over some Beethoven, maybe some um, it could be some calypso over some Robin S, some funk music. I was able to do all these things. I played Marshall Montano over some reggae. I was doing all types of different clashes. So I really enjoyed that.
That is so interesting, thinking of a DJ as a composer, an arranger, all these elements coming into DJing. That is
Yeah,
that is really, really, really,
it's a powerful tool for a
yes,
musician.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Mhm.
why did you decide to stop DJing and move into the next phase of life?
Uh, well, um, DJing had its course. The night work. Sometimes I would miss out a lot of moments with my own family. I would miss out moments. I was just so tunneled into getting to work, getting to work, learning about the promotions, the things that the job required. It took a lot out of my actual performing, playing as a musician as well. And although it was lucrative, I decided, you know what, I want to be able to play steel pan as much as I want to DJ. So I ended up integrating the both. And I started playing pan while I was DJing. And that was my highlight. I could stop the beat and select a little section and then play. And then that after a while got, I would say not boring, but it ran its course. And I just wanted to do something else. Like everyone likes to evolve. And, I decided I wanted to take my music career in other places than just, party scene and stuff like that. So I just decided, I'm just going to do it on my own for fun, but I'm not going to be in a night competing with these other, because it's Miami and it's a lot of DJs and the music is coming out every other day. So it's always updating. And if you don't have the new stuff, persons have a way of making you feel that you're not up to date because you don't have what they know. So there's always need to validate the listener, whereas you yourself feel empty because you are more interested in satisfying the persons instead of actually sustaining yourself. So I decided, you know what? I know what good music sounds like. I like to play this type of stuff. If this is not trending for as long as I want it to trend, I'm going to not follow. I'm going to enjoy what I love. And so I decided to not want to compete with persons, and their tastes instead of fostering my own health and my mentality and my mental care. And so that's why I decided to stop DJing professionally.
Wow, I never looked at it at that and in
Yeah,
that way that as a DJ you are emptying yourself and
yeah,
validating others' preferences. Yeah, and
yeah,
your preferences are getting lost along the way. But
yeah. It
that
is.
took some courage to recognize that.
It did. It actually did. I felt having the money was good, but then I was losing my dexterity in playing my guitar and my pan, and there are some things I wanted to do, and I was like, I don't have the time. And time is one of the most important and expensive assets we are allowed it. So you can't get it back. So I say, you know what? There's more to me. There's more to Carlon Lyons than just DJing. So
Wow. So what did you do at that point?
uh, what did I do? I stopped DJing. I started to perform on the steel pan, more gigs and stuff like that. Um, I got more into composing and writing music, and getting more as much as I can get into stuff that I didn't get into college. College, I didn't get everything in the 4 years, so there are things that I knew I had to go and really investigate. And so I just decided, continue my studies and learning more about music itself. So I put music back into my life, the theories and the stuff like that, more into my life again.
And where did that lead you?
Well, so after doing these things, I decided, you know what, I want to teach because I had to sustain myself. So I needed to find a way to do what I love and get paid for it. And at the time, the love became learning now more about the craft of music, the skill set, than just playing it. So I needed to marry those two. And I believe the best way to learn anything is to teach somebody it. So by me picking a topic and fresh about it, if I could then translate it to someone, I myself am learning at the same time. So I was like, this is easy. This makes sense. So I started to teach music, and I became passionate about it. I became passionate about it. So yeah, I became more into teaching than even playing, and that is another story by itself.
And then you left the US and you went back to Trinidad.
Right. So I left the US in 2017, and I got to Trinidad, and I was like, okay, I'm home. Let me find something to do. What am I going to do? Am I going to arrange for a Panama band? Am I going to be go back to school? What am I going to do? And I decided, you know what? I want to do welding. So I went to yeah, I went to do welding. I My family has a company called Trinwell in Marabella, um, Harmony Hall, Marabella. And I went and I was like, "Hi, I'm Carlon Lyons." He's like, "Well, everyone's there Lyons, but they don't know me." I'm like, "Well, I'm Carlon Lyons." He's like, "Okay, so how can we help you, Mr. Lyons?" I'm like, "I want to learn to do welding. Could you weld?" No. And at the time, I'm like 33 years old. So it's like, you can't weld, you want to weld, you don't know what goes on in welding. So they sent me back home. I was like, what? It's like, yeah, go back home and find out what it is you want to do and what it is. And they gave me a book, a brochure. I was like, all right, there you go, family. So I went back home, opened the brochure, saw what they do, fabricating, scaffolding, you know. I was like, this is a next a whole type of field, another field. I'm like, man, okay. So I went back the next day. I was like, I want to be a welder. I was like, so what do we do here? I was like, you do pigging, you do scaffolding, you do refurbishing, you do. He's like, okay, you read the book. All right, okay, let's go. And they took me down to the stalls where all the equipment in the company is, and they gave me the oldest mask, welding mask they can find with a piece of wire and a welding whip with openings. It's not safe. And it's like, okay, here you go, Mr. Lyons. Go and learn to weld. I'm like, all right, well, I'm optimistic. So I'm like, thank you. I appreciate you. This is wonderful, man. I appreciate this, man. And they saw this, so look at my face. I was like, oh boy, we have another one of these lions here. Hey. And I started to stick the rod, and I'm left-handed. But because I play this instrument, the steel pan, my right hand's very dominant. So
Ah, so you've become
welding,
ambidextrous.
I became ambidextrous in no second flat. I was welding more with my right hand than with my left hand. And they were asking me, what hand you write with? I'm like, I'm a left-hander. It's like, okay. And I use that at my advantage. So I was do some bees this way, and I'll come back and do some this way, and I'll line them up properly, and then any hole, crevice, patch, cavity needed some iron. Call irons, or they call him, and I was just happy to pull these long whips and start to fill and hone my skills. And then I got bored because I wasn't learning as fast as I wanted to. So I decided I was going to go back to school to learn welding. So I had to take a pay cut from my job to go to youth training, White Up, to learn how to weld with some of my juniors, guys who were now 18, 19. I'm like 34 at this time. So I went back to White Up to learn how to weld, and had a wonderful time there as well. And then I got back to the company, started to weld, and then they said, one of the supervisors asked me, he's like, Colin, why don't you fabricate? You're more of a mathematic, you have a more mechanical mind than just welding all this iron all day in this heat. Man, come and learn how to do drawings. Come on, learn how to do, quality control. I'm like, I don't want to. It's like, yes, you have the mind for it. So then I took, shout out to Werner Williams. He is one of the supervisors at Trinwell, one of the big guys. And he took me under his wing. He gave me a program called AutoCAD. And he said, this is what we used to do, lifting and drawing and sketching schematics and blueprints, and go and learn this. I was like, where would I find, where would one find this? Luckily for me, right down the street at the RIK building, there was a course, AutoCAD 1 and 2. And here I was in the people in them course. It cost me 3,500, never forget. And I went there in my scrubs, in my work clothes, and started to do the drawing. And that took about about 9 months as well. And so I graduated from that class, was able to do AutoCAD 1 and 2. Just have to get in master level now, the third level. And so I went back to the company, learning how drawing and small simple stuff. And then another supervisor, Mr. Reed, he's like, Carlon, why don't you become a certified welding instructor? You love welding. We don't have to weld. You could just make sure the guys, hear what? Come in my department. I will show you how to do quality control, and you can liaise with the welders and you can liaise with the inspectors. Like, all right, cool. So I was moved into an office from on the sun, not no more in the sun, in the office now in the air condition. And I started to, take on notes of different things, the heating numbers, the pipe numbers, the size, what rods need to be used, how much welds needs to happen between, let's say, between Gasparillo and Marabella, or let's say Key West to Miami, how much welds would it take? So I had to do weld mapping, and would it be in the field? Would it be in the shop? So I have to put shop weld or field weld, and I'm making all these things. And I realized you are learning everything in this company. So I worked there for 4 years. I into quality control, quality assurance. I worked with all the inspectors and the night shifts and and then went in a shutdown. And a shutdown is where the refineries take a pause to refurbish or fix something that was broken. And so our company got the contract. And when I went there, my job was to just use the torch and cut or anything that needs to cut so we could extract whatever has to be extracted. So I was cutting and getting wet in the rain, and I'm like, God, what are you doing, man? This is not what you really want to do. And it was one night they were lifting something with a crane, and they had a meeting. There was a meeting. Every time there's something has to be lifted, there's a meeting, and
Why
the
is there
safety guys
meat?
was.
Is that because of safety?
That is because of safety. Yes, the
Ah,
safety.
okay.
It's just he was like, okay, we have to have this meeting, and I'm like, what if something happens here and you are injured and you cannot do what you love to do? What would be then your answer to yourself? And Dr. Batson, at that time, I was like, I had enough. I need to be in a safer environment. And so I resigned. They asked me, so what are you going to do, Mr. Lyons? I was like, I'm going to continue teaching. I really enjoyed the 4 years here. And I learned a lot, you know. And so I decided to go back into teaching. And so then I got into a school teaching music, steel pan. So it transitioned very well. There was not a long downtime for me.
So you almost went full circle. You
Yeah,
left your music, you went into welding, became a certified welder, learned
yeah.
AutoCAD, and then came back to
Yeah,
music.
back into teaching, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I got into teaching again. It was safer, something that I was accustomed to. I always like people. I'm good with meeting people and talking and gelling well. And so, just meeting students again, I was able to impart. Now, I am a walking experience encyclopedia. So I'm not asking persons, what do you like to do? What do you like to do? Okay, you can do this. You can get it this way. You apply yourself this way. And I realized I had all the information to give people. And I was like, these experiences has taught me how to, you know, help persons,
Yes,
you know.
because you've been so flexible. You've
Yeah,
not been afraid to try new things.
no,
And then it seems that along the way, you've been really fortunate to meet people that have been, as you said, have been willing to pour that information into you and give you
yes.
that guidance. And now you're doing
Yeah,
the same for others.
I am doing the same for others, yes. Yes.
So, Colin, what's next? Because I see that the life for you goes in these stages, maybe 4,
Yes.
7 year stages. What's next?
All right. So next for me at the moment, right now, as we speak, I am getting ready for my grade 8 exam in happening in July. Um, now, uh, this year, making 30 years playing the instrument. So going back into the wanting to learn more about the craft, what better way to put yourself in a school or put yourself in an institution that offers students the help? Even though I still know what it entails, I still want to feel or to keep myself young, as we would say. And so I decided, let's go and see what this grading is about. And upon reaching out to Dr. Sharma, Satinan Sharma, uh, I was able to purchase the books used for grading. And I said, you know what? I'm going to help my students with grading. And then I'm also going to take an exam as well and see how I do and see what it's like. And it was a good choice because new music, new skills, new techniques, new this stuff, so that is on the plate for me at the moment doing um, this exam.
That also takes a kind of humility as well, because
Yeah.
you have your bachelor's, you have all these years of experience, and yet you're willing to experience with your students
Yeah.
this new world in a sense,
Yeah.
and keep vibrant, keep right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I really wanted to show them that I am also doing it with you as well. So we have to work together, so they get a sense of the trust. They can trust me because they see that I'm also working hard at it and it's not easy for them. And I'm not going to make it seem as though it was always easy for me because I tell them I'm struggling. And so I will show them the music. I'm like, this is what I have to do. You want to help me? And I was like, all right, well, I have to help you. So help me help you by practicing. Do what you have to do. Send me the videos of you playing it so I can see what you're doing. And so because I'm always doing something, so it was like, okay, Mr. Lyons. I was like, so it really helps bridge that trust as well too. Because they
That's
see
a
me struggling as well.
that's a fantastic incentive. That is a
Yeah.
fantastic incentive.
Yes, yes, yes. So I mean I'm having fun doing it. Uh, and it's really taking up a lot of my time as well too. But something that I love, so I really enjoy it. Yeah.
So, are you going to go into teaching welding at some point, do you think, along with teaching music?
I don't see myself teaching welding, but I do see myself having my own welding equipment at my house. And if I wanted to make a virtual a test for myself, I could make a test for myself. I could get the metals, I could grind it, I could test myself on how it looks, do the X-rays, look at everything like that. So yeah, stuff like that. I don't see myself actually working in the industry anymore, but if I had to just do a test or just, practice routing or capping the weld and grinding correctly, and I will definitely see myself having this as fun.
So, with your skills, you could actually use those skills in terms of making stands and with your creativity as well.
Yeah,
Because we always
yeah,
have the need for new pan stands and
yeah,
doing that.
yeah, yeah. The stands, making stands and fabricating. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. So we might hear Carlon Lyons music group and
And
stands as well.
handstands and yeah, I believe so. It could anything is possible. Anything is possible, people. Anything.
That is it.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. I think that sums up what you've gone through. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. That's
Wow.
it.
So, Colin, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you'd like to speak about? In fact, before that, what would your advice be to a young person or an old person coming up in terms of how to go forward in the
Okay,
things that they love?
okay. So it really starts with what and how you see yourself. It starts with these simple things like who you're talking to when you get to where you gotta get to. So are you either talking to Dr. Batson, you're having a conversation with us sitting on having drinking wine, talking about politics, or talking, do you see yourself in a plane? Do you see yourself in a board meeting with the presidents of the world? Do you see yourself on the ground helping, being a humanitarian? It really starts with the desire and how you see yourself. Once you have that picture in mind, then you need to align yourself with the environment that looks like it. Even though you don't know what it is that you're doing, you need to look what it looks like and try to match the aesthetics. Once you can match the aesthetics and you say, okay, you know what? I'm around bodybuilders or fit persons. You need to find out what country it is, what are your skills, and what do you like, and then you start planning, investigating. What is the name of the different skill sets that I will need to be able to do what I want to become? Do I have to learn a new language? Do I have to have my, do I have to learn to swim? Do I need to learn CPR? Do I need to do, once you get these small little snippets of information, then you decide, you know what, I'm going to go to school or I'm going to study sciences or I'm going to study music. Do I want to be a conductor? Okay, you want to be a conductor? Who am I going to, where am I going to get the baton to buy? What music store sells it? Go and price one, go buy one, start small. And once you have seduced your own self and knowing that I'm on the right path, because you're going to know when you fit in the path, you're like, I'm here. Nothing else now stresses you. I'm going here. Then you know you're on the right path. If you don't have these things in mind and you're still fishing, I don't know, I ain't sure what I want to do, you need to go and dream, desire it, match the aesthetics, know what you will sound like, look to people who sound like that, and then you apply yourself.
So dreaming is important.
Dreaming is absolutely is necessary. Is necessary. You have to love what you look like at the end, and then to re-engineer that and go all the way down to yourself. Do you have to get new shoes? What is your size? You need to lose weight? Okay, yeah, sure, no problem. And then when you start get on that track, everything else kind of just becomes hazy, and you actually know, oh yeah, I'm going to study Portuguese. I want to play bossa nova in Copacabana, or I want to dance salsa. Yeah, what does she look like? How are you going to spin her? You have to dream. You have to dream.
You have to dream.
Yeah,
That's beautiful, Colin.
thanks, miss.
So anything else you'd like to touch on that we haven't touched on?
Well, today is my birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Happy
birthday, dear
birthday to
Colin.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday to
birthday.
you and many more.
And many more.
Happy birthday, Colin.
Thank you so much. You'd have met me when I was 19 years old. Yeah. You'd have met me when I was
Wow,
19 years old. Yeah. It's been
man,
a while. It's
it's
been a
been a
while.
while. Good times.
So, Miss, when you saw me with the wanting to learn the instrument and wanting to be a solid player, what was your responsibility like, and how did you have to engage me specifically what was your plan to nurture me coming into this new world? What was your responsibility like for me? Uh,
Well, for me, it was I saw the jewel in the rough that you were, and and I saw that all that you could be, and I just wanted to be that support. You know, as you've had so many other people in your life supporting you, just wanted to be one of the stepping stones.
I just want to say, I have to say, my mother always says, because my mother never met you, and she's like, when Dr. Batson comes to Trinidad, let us go and meet. I'm like, yes, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But she always says she wants to thank you in person, so I'm not gonna take her glory from her. She will do that. She's not here right now. But I just want to say that studying with you at Florida Memorial was the greatest gift I've received in my, other than life itself, it was the greatest gift I received, because that allowed me to elevate almost straight like a J, almost straight, instead of having to go through so much rocky things. And that 19, 20, 21, 20, 23, that was able to keep me, because he always demanded, all of your students demanded them to be better than what they believe they can be. And even now, when I said, oh, I'm tired, I always have this voice in my head say, oh, you just started. Have a time. I'll see you at lunchtime. Oh, yeah, go get a takeout, and I want to hear this after lunch. I was like, so this engine, it has not cut off. It refuses to cut off, because I need to always excel. So you planted that seed in myself, and I know a lot of students as well. So thank you very much for putting me on that, you know, that path. Thank you so much, Dr.
Oh,
Batson.
you're welcome, Colin, and thank you. And thank you for checking in with Dr. B. It's been really lovely, seeing how
It's been
much you've
really lovely.
learned.
I had a time. I had a good time. I had a really good time.
I
Wow.
hope the rest of your birthday is absolutely fantastic.
I'm going to practice, because I have to finish this music. I have to learn this music. So I'm going to practice every day, at least 6 hours at least.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you do in the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely be checking back in right here at checking in with Dr. B.
All right. Okay, Colin, take good care.
All right, Miss. Thank you so much. Love you. Take care.
Love you too. Welcome to Checking In with Dr. B. In addition to our video podcast, we invite you to join our Jumpstart network at keepyourjoyandrise.com. There you'll have access to questions and answers with our guests, virtual meetups, and opportunities to suggest and participate in workshops and spur-of-the-moment talk and jam sessions. We are creating a community of positive thinkers and doers. Come join.